Unit 6, Form 1, Day 5, scatter plots. First things first, we got to do a couple definitions. So we'll start here with correlation. A correlation is two sets of data that are strongly linked. Okay, it could be positively or negatively. Okay, and then you have a causal relationship. This is when one variable causes change in another variable. Sketch the graph. So if something has a positive correlation, that means as x increases, y increases too. So this type of graph with a bunch of dots, you can see has a positive correlation because it's going up. Okay, a negative correlation would be something like this. Okay, because they're both going down. So as x decreases, so does y. Okay, something with no correlation would just be a bunch of random dots. These are all scatter plots, okay, where you just put points everywhere. Okay, a bunch of random dots would be no correlation. So if it's going up, it's positive, down would be negative, all around would be no correlation. Okay, so tell whether the following has a correlation. If it does, tell whether it's a causal relationship. So does one thing cause the other? So number 4, the number of hours worked and the amount of money made. So think about it. The more you work, so as the number of hours you work goes up, what happens to the amount of money you make? That goes up as well. So since they're both going up at the same time, yes, they have a correlation. It's a positive correlation. And then does it cause the other? So me working more, does that cause me to make more money? Absolutely. So there is a causal relationship as well. Okay, so there's kind of two answers on each of these. Okay, the amount of time you practice and your swim meet times. So think of swimming. The more I practice, so as I practice, so that goes up, what happens to my swim meet time? So think of a race. Does my swim meet times get longer or shorter? Hopefully they get shorter, right? So they're going down. Okay, so as I practice more, my swim meet times get better. So that would be, it would be what you would call a negative correlation. Not that it's bad. Negative doesn't necessarily mean bad. It means that the longer I practice, the shorter my times get, which is actually a really good thing for swimming. Okay, and then the more I practice, does that cause my times to go down? Not necessarily, because you could practice and practice and practice and not get better. You could maybe not be practicing very hard, so that would be not a causal relationship. Just because you practice doesn't mean you get better. Okay, the trend line. A trend line, up here we got a little bit more definitions for you. A line that can be drawn through the data that best fits the data set. Okay, so if you look at our graph on the right, the beach visitors, if you look at the bottom, that's talking about the temperature down here. Okay, over here it's talking about the visitors. So the hotter it gets, they want to know how many visitors there are at a beach. Okay, so the trend line would go directly through it. So you would start at the first point and the last point, and you just draw a straight line through them. That would be what you would call your trend line. Now, obviously, some of them aren't perfect on the trend line, but it fits most of them. Okay, so it says, given the graph, find the equation for the trend line. Well, if you remember equation of a line, you need y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Well, if I kept going down, when the temperature is 0 degrees, how many people do you think are at the beach? None. So my b is 0, or my y-intercept is 0. So now I just have to find my slope. Okay, so my slope, if I find the first point, remember 2 points, so that would be, let's see, that'd probably be 80, comma 80. So my first point is 80, comma 80. My second point up here would be about 96, comma 530. And to find your slope, you do 530 minus 80 divided by 96 minus 80, which equals 450 over 16, which equals your slope is 28.125. So my equation is y equals 28.125 x plus 0. Okay, so that's my equation, that's number 6. And then using that equation, how many visitors would the beach have if the temperature was 99? So really you want to plug in that 99 right there for the x. And you would get y equals, so you'd take 28.125 times 99 plus 0, which would be about 2,784. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.